Hey, Phil here from Radio.co, and if you know me, or rather the videos and tutorials I host, you know that I'm all about audio, gaga for gear, and simply mad for microphones. So much so that I'm super confident that any newly released piece of broadcasting kit that makes its way onto my table simply can be unboxed and critiqued in mere minutes. After all, as a self-confessed audio know-it-all, a lot of broadcasting kit more or less does the same thing. So really, what's going to be so different and surprising about this one? It's on the table?
Next to you.
Well, this?
Yeah.
A camera? Now that is a pleasant surprise. Introducing the Mevo, from broadcasting, streaming, and everything in betweening, Logitech, a device touted as the evolutionary step from the humble webcam. Aimed at those who truly wish to be seen all over the visual broadcasting space, the Mevo has been designed to be everything a creator could possibly need, to easily, simply, and gloriously stream yourself across the World Wide Web in full HD, and without a headache in sight. Now, I know what you're thinking. Phil, Radio.co is an audio platform. Why would you be interested in showcasing what a camera can do? Well, truth be told, being the internet radio specialists that we are, we cannot deny the power and influence the visual medium has these days, especially considering how increasingly popular video podcasts have become. So it was only a matter of time before radio broadcasters were asking me how they too can be seen and heard across the likes of YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch to capitalize on the ever-growing potential audiences dwelling there. Well, the answer to that, my friends, is the Mevo. So let's check it out, shall we? This video is sponsored by Logitech, who kindly sent us the Mevo cameras and other Logitech hardware used during this video. Check out the links in the description to get the Mevo for yourself. So the box that we've got in particular here is the Mevo Start 3-pack, which, as you can see from the picture, contains 3 cameras. This retails for about £1,000, $1,000 or so. If you're looking for something a little cheaper, they do a solo pack, which just contains the 1 camera for about £400. But in all honesty, might as well go for the 3. You can do pretty much any setup that you want. And I'm going to be demonstrating a multicam setup during this video. Because of that reason, obviously you can already see 1 out. Behind the scenes, 2 are being used. So there's no point actually unboxing a empty box. But what you'll find inside is the 3 cameras and 3 accommodating USB-C cables that you can use just to charge them and then use them on the go, wirelessly, or as we're doing now, we've got them actually plugged into my computer to operate them, because they're quite powerful things and they're capable of doing a lot. So hey, that's why we've got them plugged in. Now, as you can see, these cameras, they only come with the cameras and the cables themselves. What are this little hollowed out stand here? Now, what's good about the Mevo cameras is they are pretty versatile in terms of the mounts that can be used on them. So if you do happen to have any particular mic stands lying around, or boom arms, such as this blue boom arm that we have here, you can just connect them up to that pretty seamlessly, just changing the layout of the particular mount on there. But if you want something more official, like, again, what we have here, then you can get the Mevo mic stands, and you can also get this awesome Mevo table stand, which you're going to be putting into practice very, very soon. These retail for about £80 as well. So if you are looking for something a bit more versatile, a bit more official, and in particularly this, a lot more doody, yes, I said doody, then you'll want to get yourself one of those. You may want to use things like, obviously, micro SD cards as well, because we're saving a lot of stuff locally, but you also can stream globally as well. So if you are looking to record to, I guess, things that aren't your phone, as you can obviously record any of your footage directly to your mobile device through the app. If you want to do something a bit more locally, then of course you'll want a good SD card in each one. We recommend, at least 128 gigabytes per camera. So again, something else you may want to consider. So as you can see, we've got the table mount here that's going to be used for showing you how the app actually works. I've got my main camera here, and I've also got my little side-on camera here. Hello. That's actually probably a good angle you may want to go for when you are broadcasting on the radio, if you want to just have a little bit of yourself dancing around or get a glimpse of what it's like behind the studio. And of course, I've gone through a center-on camera here, and this one, which hey, we're going to have a little bit of fun with. Anyway, so what we've kind of done already, we've a few steps ahead. In fact, we're probably all the steps ahead. But you want to plug in your Mevo cameras to a power source. Like I've got my laptop here. We've got all the off-screen laptops as well. So that could just be a USB cable through the computer, or a cable, into an actual wall, or simply use it on battery power. It's got a good amount of battery power in it, sort of at least 6 hours or so. Obviously, that will deteriorate the more you're using it, and the higher quality you're streaming at. But you should be good for a broadcast, I would imagine. On that note, to check your battery level, you can just look at the lights on the back of the device, and then also check within the app itself, which I'm using here. Speaking of. Here we go, I'm on the app. There we go, let's experiment with it, holding it properly. Oh, there we go. So what you need to do is you need to hold down the power button for about 3 seconds or so to activate what we call pairing mode. And then back on the app, you should then click Setup to begin choosing your internet preferences and connecting all of your Mevo devices. So of course, if you like us using 3, you need to set up for each of them. And they'll all be sharing the same Wi-Fi as well, or mobile signal, whatever it is that you find that you're using. So once you've set up one, it is actually a lot quicker to do them all. Now, you may also find that you occasionally have to update the firmware of the cameras within the app, such as the first time you connect to your cameras, and that's, in all honesty, to be transparent, that's what we had to do as well. So at the top of the Mevo multi-app screen, you should see a live view from your camera. And beside this, you should also see current sound levels for the device that you're viewing. And in fact, if you have a look a little bit further on, you might be able to see on here, you can actually see the audio levels of all of them. The phone one, of course, the one that's nearest to me, is going absolutely berserk because obviously I'm very, very close to it, but we're recording through this. Underneath that live view, this will actually help that issue we're having, is the actual ability to mute and unmute. So it's unmuted at the moment. Sorry, it's muted at the moment, unmuted. There you go, simple. So really good if you want to cut off sound from a camera that's not being used, or it's in a different room, or you kind of just want to, mute a guest or a co-host so you don't hear their breathing, their coughing, or their snide comments about you. Of course, in the likely event of you broadcasting your radio station, you may want to mute it, for, to kind of mask the audio that you're currently playing and streaming, because I'm looking at you, copyright strikes. Next to this, you will find the live and record buttons. You can see one of them is already highlighted here because we are actually recording right now. There we go. Or if you wanted to stream live, we can also go live as well. Duty. Next to that, you will also see a feature called Beta. Now, what this is a Mevo webcam app beta, which allows you to connect to video conferencing software on your computer. Like if you're using Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. I say you're probably using these. Everyone in the world has been using these for the last 2 years. So if you want to integrate the Mevo app to become a much more big step forward, a webcam, this is a great way of doing it. Especially if it means you don't need to constantly switch between DJ mode and office mode, as I know a lot of us are guilty of doing that. Myself included. So next to that, you will find also a drop-down arrow that provides some more info on your input quality. So we come here again. So you can see it's a bit blurry here, being so up close, but you can see how long my recording's been going on for, the quality of it, the recording, and also the streaming and the input quality from the microphones as well. Also, if you have an SD card, it will also tell you the free space that you have on there, particularly useful if you are doing large broadcasts. Now, underneath all of this, you have your 3 camera views with 3 dots beside each one. If I click on some of these, just allows you to adjust your images. You got your crop and zoom. You can also remove it if you're not happy with the camera. If you click on the 3 dots, you can customize some of the image adjustment settings, as I mentioned, such as crop and zoom, the video output, which can be a maximum of 1080p plus, and even transition manager to adjust how your shots cut between each other. So at the moment, I'm just tapping them, and it's just a hard cut between all of them. But if I wanted to smoothen things out a little bit, I can have it fading in and out, which is pretty nice. You'll also find the ability to change the name of your cameras, which I do strongly recommend doing, perhaps renaming each camera to wherever they are placed. So you might be able to see it on the app again here. We've got front, phone, and we've got side. So then I can't be mistaken when I want to cut to the phone, and instead I've got the side of my face. And there's also auto director, which kind of puts the the Mevo really in charge of vision mixing your feed to free up your hands for something else, which is probably something useful that I could be doing right now. But if you are relying on switching between hosts and guests, then this automation may not suit you, as it doesn't like detect or switch to people that are actually talking. But you can adjust the timing for this feature to edit, the feed to your speed. So if that was something I did want to do, then hey, that'll free up my hands to talk and actually look like I know what I'm doing. Finally, at the bottom of the app, you will find a toolbar, in particular, a plus button. And what that will allow me to do is that will allow me to add things like more cameras, graphics, and audio. Oh, that's one of my buzzwords. And, really, aside from that, I mean, there are a lot more advanced features that we're going to go in through now. But as for the basics of operating it, that's it. If you wanted to do a very basic multicam setup, you've set the cameras up already, which is perfect. And now we are moving from each one, just simply tapping, whether that's myself, the auto director, or someone like Rowan off screen. But that might be all that you really want to use it for. So I still might as well go into the advanced features or the extra things you can add, if you want to make things a little bit more spicy, a little bit more funky, and hey, dare I say the word, professional. Okay, so upon clicking on the plus button, and then subsequently the graphics option, you'll see a couple of options of laying out your screen. So we have got full screen overlay, lower third, over the shoulder, and corner bug. Full screen overlays are great if you want to cut away when you don't want to be visible, like when you go in the toilet or you're having a heart attack, something like that. In fact, we've got an example here, kindly donated to me. There we go. How beautiful is that? Is that a sheep? Lower third. So what they do is they can kind of go in your webcam view to show, each person's name on a podcast or an interview, such as their name, a picture, reason for existing, anything like that. So if I want to show you one that could look like for me, here we go. Phil, Mevoing up in the world. Sounded better in my head than it did coming out, as other things usually are. The other one that we have here is called an over the shoulder, and that's kind of like a bigger version. There we go. That sits in the corner. There we go. Chicken. There you go. Don't know whether that's supposed to be antagonistic or just a fact, but here we go. Picture of a chicken. And then also corner bugs, which are smaller versions, like so, that can go right in the corner. Not entirely sure what that picture is, but hey, it looks interesting nonetheless. So that's particularly good for having a logo on your stream. You may have seen, on YouTube videos, things like that. It can be useful just to have the logo for your station, again, because it's all about expand the reach of your brand and the accessibility and, of course, the viewership, listenership of your brand. So get your logo, plaster it anywhere you can, and hey, if you want to go completely mad, maybe plaster the entire screen with it. But as you can see, there's lots of really great customization options within the app, and that's why I think the app is such a stellar product. It's not just, of course, the microphones are cool, but the app just allows you to do so much, whether it is just plastering pictures of yourself, titles, anything that really improves the, dare I say again, professionalism of your broadcast. If you want to go out swinging on video platforms as well as the radio streams, then of course you want to make it look as sleek as possible. Right, next is audio, which, as you can imagine, is a pretty crucial ingredient for your stupendous live streaming radio station. Now, there are a few options available to you for adding audio to your stream, with the first and easiest method being the actual onboard microphones on each of these devices. As I mentioned earlier, you can see the levels on each of them going up and down, some more mad than others. That's because they're the default choice. So by default, there's always going to be something captured audio-wise anyway. So you don't even need to go out your way to capture anything in particular. It will also do it by default. But you can also just check what your current audio devices and details are from the audio options here, as you can see on my screen.
So if I grab my phone now, I can see all three different views and I can click between them. See that lovely transition there? That looked nice.
However, if you're like us and you're a stickler for using something a bit more powerful and professional, then you can, of course, plug in any microphones compatible with the 3.5mm audio jack or USB connection on board the Mevo devices. There is also an option to record audio using external methods such as mixers. This will require a bit of configuration away from the app, so that might be something we'll return to in a future video. Now, regardless of what audio input you actually do select, head to the audio symbol on the main screen, as I've done here. And you should see the digital mixer, as I've already shown you. So here you can change the audio volumes of everything. If you don't want to simply mute and unmute everything, you can do it all independently. And again, this will be the same for whichever audio input you do actually use. So whatever's available there, change it any way you like. If you want to see a live stream in full swing, we are actually planning a live webinar very soon using the Mevos. So make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell to find out exactly when that'll happen. Or, of course, if you're watching this after the live stream, then you'll find a link to it in the description because, well, we're lovely people. Okay, so final thoughts. Logitech's mission was to create a product for creators, and that's not a specific kind of creator, but creators in general. So to provide something as compact, simple to use, and incredibly impressive to cater for every creator in some way or another, it's no easy task. Well, that's exactly what Logitech have achieved with the Mevo, making visual broadcasting such an obtainable and uncomplicated way for any radio host or podcaster looking to take their shows to the next level. Sure, the Mevo cameras are impressive, but that's really only half the product. As I said before, the Mevo app is such a superb, user-friendly, and wonderful, customizable experience that enables anybody of any ability, understanding, and age to manage a multi-camera operation like it's nothing. See, even a complete wazzick like myself was able to do it. And that goes for both expertly recording and live streaming throughout every available platform. Because I, as I said, for one, had no idea how to do it so effortlessly before today. Now, of course, £1,000, $1,000 is some serious cash to part with for a set of webcams, but the Mevo 3 Start Pack is far more than that, far easier and cheaper to use than the setup we traditionally use for our videos and live streams. With 3 very expensive DSLR cameras, shotgun microphones, multiple meters of cables, and several external software integrations for various streaming platforms scattered around, I know which one I'd prefer to use from now on. Now, it's worth highlighting, of course, that there are some things I would have liked to see in addition to what's available within the Mevo box and app itself. The Mevo floor stands, for example, are an additional cost, so be prepared to order a few of those or the table mount if you don't have anything lying around already. Both Mevo apps are fantastic and are clearly built for mobile devices. After all, they work so simply on them. But having a desktop version would personally be greatly appreciated, especially for radio broadcasters who can't always afford to look away from their computers mid-show. If you're obviously looking to what you're playing, or there's links you've written, or emails you're reading, it's always worth just having something available on that computer that you never seem to look away from. Similarly, more advanced audio inputs for broadcasters wanting to stream the audio directly from their mixers and consoles would be a lovely touch too, to continue making the task of live streaming professional radio as simple as it absolutely needs to be. These, of course, are not cons per se, just honest suggestions that I feel would have made an already stellar product that little more stellar, if that's a word. Fundamentally, though, they are stupidly easy to use and worth every penny and second you spend. So, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you've decided that you have the face for radio and screen, then look no further than the Mevos, as you won't find a more simple yet more professional way of streaming across the visual broadcasting space. And until next time, take care and happy broadcasting. And just before you go, how would you like to launch your very own online radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot simpler than you may think. And the absolute best way to get started is by chatting to myself or another member of the Radio.co team. To do that, just head to Radio.co/demo to schedule a video call with us, where we'll discuss your plans, answer your questions, and of course, guide you around the Radio.co software.